Hello Russian learners, Oksana here, welcome to my channel. Today we are continuing with our Russian studies, and this video will be dedicated to our very broad theme that we studied some videos ago, which is the notion of gender in the Russian language. We've talked about the gender of the Russian nouns as well as the Russian adjectives, and of course, like in any language, with any grammar point, aside of some set rules, there are also a lot of examples or exceptions, as well as some points that need further explanation, because of course when you're learning a new language, a foreign language, you stumble upon some notions or moments that need further explanations, and I think that today we continue talking on this broad theme of gender in the Russian language, and we'll talk about how to establish the gender of the geographical names, because of course there are some moments which is when it is easy to determine this the gender of these geographical names. I'm talking about like names of the cities or mountains, rivers, regions, something like that. And there are also moments when it is like hard to guess which gender is attributed to this or that name. So I thought it will be good to make a video on that theme, and it is also it will be useful to broaden your vocabulary, because today you will learn some of the geographical names, how they are written and pronounced in Russian. So you will have like two good reasons to watch this video, I think. So let's start without further ado. So, like I said, geographical names mean any names that characterize a geographical place. It can be either a city, a country, like a river, like mountain, anything like that. And when talking about the geographical names in Russian, they can be basically divided into two groups, and the first group is that group that formally fit the Russian system of the gender endings. So the first is fit the gender system, gender endings system. So basically they are those names that can be attributed to any gender, like just according to their endings, like following the rules. And I talked about those rules in my previous videos. Do watch them if you haven't yet. So basically we have like specific word endings that correspond to each of the genders, which are three, of course, in Russian. So we have the masculine gender, masculine. So masculine, it can be like the nouns ending in the consonant or the letters I or I. So let us take some examples. For example, the name of the country, Kitai, which is China. So it is ending in I, and following the rules, the noun ending in I is attributed to the masculine gender. Next, let's have this. Thailand, the country. Again, it is ending in the consonant, and according to the rules, it has to be attributed to the masculine gender. Next, let's take this name. It is the name of a river in Russia, which is Yenisei. Yenisei, I think it is pronounced in English. It is the river in Russia. And again, let's take another river, for example, Nil, which is the Nile in Egypt. And also let's take some mountain, which is this one, Everest, which is the Everest in Asia, a very famous mountain. It is also of a masculine gender in Russian. Next, we also have the feminine gender. So what of the which of the geographical names can be attributed to the feminine gender group. So of course we have the name Россия, which is Russia. It is ending in a vowel, and of course it is of a feminine gender, Russia, Россия. Next, let's take a river name, which is also a river in Russia, which is Volga. Volga. It's a river in Russian, of course. I think you know about it. So that is the example of the feminine gender geographical names. And we also have the third gender, which is neuter. And in neuter, I can only think about one example for now. Let's take this one. Приморье. Приморье. It is ending in ye and it is of a neuter gender. Приморье is like a typical Russian geographical name. It represents a region in the Russian Far East. Приморье basically means by the sea, like a region by the sea, meaning Приморье. So that is the first group of geographical names, the genders of which can be established following the rules of the gender system in Russian, basically according to their endings. And of course we have the second group, which is, you can guess, it is exceptions. I'll write it just like that, exceptions. So these following geographical names do not follow the gender system rule of the Russian language, and their genders has to be established in a special way. And in this way, you have to use some association with the generic word that represents that these geographical names represents. Now, for example, let us take this example. Sochi. Sochi, you know this city probably in Russia, in the Russian south. It is the city that we had the Winter Olympics at. I don't remember which year it was. So basically this city, Sochi, ending in E, and we know that nouns ending in E are always the exceptions to the gender rules in the Russian language, and their genders has to be established in a certain way. You can either watch the dictionary, or if you don't know, you can use this pattern. You will have to think what Sochi is. Sochi is a city, of course. So in Russian, a city is город. Город. So we are attributing this word, this noun, to the name Sochi, and we are establishing the gender of this noun that this name represents. So this Sochi represents city, город means город, and город, it is of the masculine gender, of course. So by the analogy, Sochi will be of the masculine gender. So when you're making like a word combination, like when you want to use an adjective with this name Sochi, you will use an adjective of a masculine gender. For example, красивый Sochi. Sochi is masculine gender because it means city, город. So if город is of a masculine gender, so the adjective used with the word Sochi has to be of the masculine gender as well. Красивый Sochi, beautiful Sochi. Another example, let me give you this. San Francisco. Again, San Francisco, meaning San Francisco. You know, it is a city as well. So it is город, and it is of a masculine gender. So again, if we're making a word combination using an adjective with this word, we'll have to use it in the masculine gender as well. Because San Francisco means city, city is город, город is of a masculine gender. So that's it. And the same thing whenever you are seeing a word which ends in a particular ending that falls into the group of exceptions, you will either have to, if you have a dictionary beside you, you can look it up in the dictionary, or you can use this system of trying to first to think what notion this geographical name represents. It can be either a city or a river or a mountain. You translate this notion into Russian, like river, река, река, feminine gender, so the name of that river will be of the feminine gender as well. And like a mountain, гора, гора, feminine gender as well, so the name of this mountain will be of the feminine gender. I'm talking only about the the names that fall into the exceptions group. So this way will help you to establish the gender of such names, geographical names that don't fit the gender endings system of the Russian language. So I hope that was clear for today. I know that it is kind of confusing at first, but it is just because you haven't completely fully immersed yourself into Russian speech. Like, the more you listen, the more you see those geographical names either in texts or listen to them being pronounced in some Russian conversations, the more you will grasp this notion, and the more you'll remember. So, of course, it's all about the practice. It's all about using and speaking the Russian language. So that's it for today. If you have any questions, of course, write them down in the commentary sections. I will definitely answer all of your questions. And also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and to support my channel by subscribing to it. I will really greatly appreciate it. So also, good luck with your studies. Please stay safe, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Goodbye.